Garrett Morris had this to say about a sketch comedy troupe from Columbus.
Not only has Shadowbox it's been more than all right. The sketches are equal to any of the best of the first 5 years of Saturday Night Live.
This nonprofit scientific research company grossed $4.6 billion in 2008. So what could these two organizations possibly have to do with these high school students putting on a show?
Tonight, I promise the real goal is not to stand out and be the students from Metro High School, but instead to just simply fit in and make everybody who doesn't know you go, which one's the student? That would be the ideal situation. Well, I want to thank you all for coming out and joining us this evening. This is our inaugural event. This is the first time that we have ever worked with a group of students to put together a Shadowbox show. 8 weeks ago we began by simply visiting the students and telling them what was going to be expected throughout. In that initial meeting, I mentioned one thing that I want to be sure and stress this evening. This show is not about talent, it's about courage. You might think that it's talent, I promise you it's not. Courage is what it's all about. If you have the courage to get up and do this in front of an audience, in front of me in particular, then you will succeed, I promise.
You know, I helped found Shadowbox over 20 years ago, and it succeeded, I think, primarily because I have incredibly high expectations of the people who work for me. And I suppose that's true because I have incredibly high expectations for myself. And frankly, my plan here is to treat these kids exactly the same way. I expect them to give their very best 100% of the time. If they do, we're going to have a great show.
I'd like to welcome everybody here. My name is Steve Geyer. I'm the executive producer of Shadowbox. We specialize in sketch comedy, rock and roll, and musicals. The reason that we're here today is because we have decided, with the cooperation of the folks here at Metro High School, to put a joint project together with the students.
Shadowbox, along with some of you, the Metro students, are going to produce a sketch comedy and rock and roll show. So basically, some of you will be on stage with us doing anything from comedy acting, dancing, singing, or even possibly playing a musical instrument, something that you would find in a rock band.
On April the 7th, we're going to have our audition/workshop. Your engagement in this thing is going to be measured first and foremost by your heart. You may be the most talented human on earth. I've let a lot of those people go over the years, because it's not what interests me personally. I want to see how big your heart is. So when you come to that audition, that workshop on the 7th, just give it everything you've got. Just come and give it 100% effort. I promise it'll be a whole day of winners if we take that approach. Okay, so we're doing this project with Metro High School. Turns out that it's a high school that specializes in math and science.
You drop the marbles into here, it rolls down this track and puts a light on them, and according to what color it is, it'll sort them into one of these 3 bins, and that is for the class Principles of Engineering, which I am taking right now.
I ask a little more to find out what kind of geniuses get into the school, and it turns out it's a lottery. Anybody can get into this school. And then I find out that to get out of this school, to graduate, you have to have an A. You can't graduate with a B, certainly not with a C. An A. if I was going to that school, I would still be there today.
I figure I haven't got anything to lose at this point other than my self-respect. So I'll ask Christina Brown what she knows about Metro and what makes it so special.
It's just the opportunity to take the history of Battelle and the whole reason why we were created as a charitable trust and partner with those that are out in the community.
I mean, what could be more part of the community than the schools?
Absolutely.
And so Battelle has made this commitment to this high school.
Battelle partnered with the Ohio State University as well as the Educational Council to create Metro High School, the first STEM education school, science, technology, engineering, and math here in the state of Ohio. This was back in 2006 that this began, so.
So we're just in the third year here?
Absolutely.
I'm a third year at Metro, which basically means I've been here from the beginning, and next year I will be a member of the first graduating class, so yay me.
We're the guinea pigs. We really are. I mean, we're the first year running through here. That's kind of the term that we endearingly call ourselves.
We're trying something new, and things are going to work and things aren't going to work, and you go through it, and I guess that's kind of how life goes. It's just you try things, some of them work, some of them don't, and you have as much fun as you can, I guess.
So it's cool to be a guinea pig as long as you have as much fun as you can. Okay, I'm cool with that. I mean, I suppose Shadowbox would never have even gotten started if I hadn't been willing to just have fun instead of a life. Anyway, I'm starting to see what the similarities are between Shadowbox and this STEM school, Metro. In fact, they even have a long-haired dude.
Yeah, it's a STEM school, science, technology, engineering, and math. Well, I didn't hear English or language arts, if you will, in there anywhere. So I keep telling them to change it to a STEAM school, so we got that extra E for English, but that hasn't flown down the pipeline just yet.
Right.
I love teaching first years because that first year at Metro is such a transition. Number one, you're going to high school. It's huge. Number two, it's Metro.
Right.
That brings a whole new set of rules to the ball game.
The school runs on the mastery system, so you have to pass every class with 90% or higher, and that was definitely a challenge for me.
Have an A to be able to move on, and that's bound to make your parents happy, right? I wonder how happy they'll be with you working with Shadowbox on this little project.
They're a little iffy with, the whole Shadowbox thing because we're a family that tries to avoid, inappropriateness and stuff like that. So, I mean, we don't even watch R-rated movies.
Thank you for calling Shadowbox in Columbus. We give all of our shows an R rating due to language and adult situations.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. We know that Shadowbox has a reputation for adult entertainment.
I did have one teacher send me an email that said, they're pretty risque. You're never gonna get it, not this time. You're never gonna get it, my love. So I know, but this show will not be that way.
When I think about describing Shadowbox, I have to start with sketch comedy and rock and roll. Think Saturday Night Live when it was funny. Think your favorite songs by your favorite bands, but performed by our band and sung by our singers. Every bit of it has our whole heart. We give it our best shot. I don't think anybody sees what we do and doesn't understand that. That's Shadowbox. That's what's gotten us to where we are today, 20 years of best effort. If I could impart a little bit of that to these students, I'll be a very happy camper.
We have, right now, 54 kids that want to participate. You're indicating we have 33 kids interested in comedy, 16 in singing, 13 in dance, and 11 in some sort of instrument.
Right.
Obviously, that's more than 54, so we have lots of kids that have signed up for more than one thing. So is that your thought at this moment, to let each kid do two?
That's kind of my thought. They could do 2 performance auditions.
Okay.
Just because of the vast number of people we've got.
Well, I'm excited that so many folks were interested. I mean, that's the exciting part.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now I'm going, how am I going to pull this off?
I guess we didn't need to be concerned about a low turnout.
Hello, Girl Scouts.
we're adding a little something.
I'm sorry to stop you. I hate to do that, but will you say your name and your year first, please? That's okay. That's all right.
My name is Caroline Kima.
My name is Adam Woodshine. I'm Jacob Bear.
Asia Wells.
Jack McClintock.
I'm Jen Martin.
Hayden Stevens. Shaquan Gray. Adam Smith. I'm Ronnie Opon.
Kima Smith. Molly Ricksecker.
We had tons of kids to audition, and there was no way I could do it myself. So I brought the directors along, Jimmy and Julie for comedy, Stacy with Stephanie and Noel to help out with the vocals, Matt Hahn auditioned the instrumentalists, and then I had Katie and Amy for the dance. Now, most of these kids had no practical experience whatsoever with performance, and it's important for us to bear that in mind as we look at their auditions.
I did community theater when I was 11.
My friend Tom introduced me to his church where they were doing a play. It was Clue. I was Mr. Body. I got to die.
I have not done a theater production since a long time ago, like 5th or 6th grade.
But that doesn't necessarily mean they have no skills and no talent or anything else. And that turned out to be exactly right. There was a great deal of talent, not so much skill, but a great deal of talent hidden away in these kids. On the vocal side of things, the most astounding thing to me was that I didn't know any of these frickin' songs.
This is the greatest and best song in the world.
I am confident, but I still have my moments, baby. When the world gets in my face, I say, have a nice day.
And then hearing them attempt to sing harmonies and things like that, well, clearly these kids didn't grow up with Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Have any of you guys ever sang harmony?
My mama told me good, my mama told me strong.
Good. Just because, you're unsure, just if you're gonna mess up big.
Before I stop loving you, you got to change, baby.
The instrumentalists kind of came in two flavors. You had kids who had some classical training and were therefore also used to the recital process.
What I want you to do is I want you to put the music stand away.
There were definitely some of these students who had some meaningful skills when it came to understanding the instrument enough to improv a little bit. You also clearly had another group of students who learned, like, I'm going to play in my bedroom to my favorite CDs or my parents' favorite CDs until I'm just as good as those musicians are.
Okay, so how many people have dance experience? Classes and stuff, yeah?
On the dance side of things, it was a completely different sort of experience because you get a lot of people up on stage all at once so that you can assess them as a group. On the other side of the coin, unlike a Shadowbox audition, we had students just standing around watching this thing, just to add a little juice to the experience for the auditionees. The dance directors had a relatively easy job compared to the other directors because they could really, by dint of this mass audition, determine who had the skills that they needed and who didn't. And they didn't necessarily have to assess that magical quality of charisma.
That is all the time we have today. Thank you very much for your hard work.
All right, guys, welcome to Comedy Auditions.
Girl Scouts. We're adding something new to your cookie cell this year.
As you all know, first prize
Is a Barbie dream house. Anyone want to know what second prize is? Second prize, a stick of gum. That's all you get. That's all you get.
All right, thank you, guys. What we're going to do now is...
For the first tier, to be able to pick a piece that they'll be able to do as a lead. The second tier, I'm not certain I could get them to do a lead, but I think I could get them to do a backup or to do a supporting role.
He had some charisma, but he didn't get high scores, he got in there.
I know, I'm just looking at, he's the only one that's completely out of the show.
We are talking about including our first tier of comedy, first and second tier of vocals. That gives us 8 comedians and 7 vocalists. First tier of dance, that's 3. First and second tier of musicians, that's 6. And first and second tier of operations, and backstage, and lights, and sound. That's 28, sorry. 28.
So I was concerned that some people might say, I didn't get anything, but that person got to do 2 things. That's not what I understood how things were going to go.
Actually, I don't think anything was specified about how many things you might get.
But the fact that
they might not be getting anything was very clear.
Yeah.
Guys, there has to be a little bit of real world to this.
Absolutely. These kids watch American Idol. They know how it goes. Honestly.
That's true.
I'm dead
That's
serious.
really not silly at all. I agree with you. They really do, and they do get it. Not everybody wins. So, this is very fair. I feel good about it. Let's let it be.
Two announcements. First of all, I just want to make a reminder about the energy workshop meeting today at lunch.
We have special guests here with a special announcement, so we're going to leave it to them.
Hi everybody, how are you? And I am here to announce the cast list for the 2009 Metro Rocks the Box project. I will announce the name and the disciplines that you'll be participating. So first off, I apologize for any mispronunciations. First up, Jacob Baird, comedy and vocal.
So now we've got a cast of thousands. All we need to do is choose the right content, right? No big deal. I mean, we've produced more than 500 comedy sketches over the years and covered nearly 1,000 songs, but it's all about finding the right fit. So we let the audition inform us. Take Jacob. He has an amazing innocence that was just perfect for playing a 9-year-old campfire boy. And vocals? Well, it's all about finding the right voice for the right song. And a flute player with a rock band. Jethro Tull? Duh.
So explain what my notations mean. So we're going to do this first phrase 4 times in a row.
Oh, God. And that's when you throw him down and just shoot him with the gun, okay? You feel pretty good about this? Do you want to have a script here just in case?
I want to have the script there.
Just in case.
6, 7, up. 5, 6, 7.
All right, so we'll just go ahead and start taking it from the top. That's Julie Klein over there. She's going to be our lovely director today, so she'll kind of just throw stuff out our way.
First rehearsals. This is where you figure out for real what a performer is truly capable of, and you, as a director, then have to understand. Okay, now that I really know what I'm dealing with here, what am I going to do about it? What's the most important thing to deal with, you know? What's the critical thing that this particular performer needs to fix before they can really move on? On the comedy side of things, stagecraft was a huge issue.
We always say is match volume. You're going to be on stage with David, who's a big mouth, and that's a really good thing, because what you want to do is you want to listen to how loud he's talking, and you need to be as loud as him for those moments, okay, for your life.
Hi, I'm Stanley.
Now I can tell you right away.
That's not Latin.
Not even a little. Yeah, you're about 1/10 of his volume.
Do you think maybe his brain has been taken over, like last week's episode of Powerpuff Girls?
Okay, stop. So slow that down and really look him in the eye. It's tough when you start acting because you feel like you're going slow, but you're not.
We're talking about paying for the freaking coffee! Oh my god!
Gotcha. You put your hand here, Tom will do 100% of the work. I'm doing nothing whatsoever. So my job is to be still.
These things are so basic, and yet every one of these details has to be drilled home 1,000 times. Every once in a while, you have a real victory. Jacob was a perfect example of that. We had to help him understand what it meant to be as innocent as a young boy who was hearing things from his parents and mimicking those things without any of the malice that perhaps the parent intended. And literally, as soon as Jimmy started giving Jacob this instruction, you could see it appearing on his face.
And you're kind of the good boy, you know. You're kind of the one that like listens to mom and dad and works on making sure that you know.
That's it, right there. The kid gets it. It's like a little miracle when something like that happens. You know, because I didn't personally have to deal with a lot of the direction for the dance, I didn't mind that I made the situation essentially impossible for Katie and Amy. They had to accomplish in 5.5 hours what we normally take 20 hours to accomplish. And it still had to be good enough to put up in front of an audience. On the vocal side of things, the issue was entirely about encouraging these students to sing out, to sing with big voices.
Really sing out, keep on. Oh, there you go. Good, Karis. You can bite it a little bit more, it'll have more of a rock sound. So, I like pleasure spiked with pain and music is my aeroplane. As opposed to, I like pleasure spiked with, which is nice, it totally works, but I think I can get you to do the other one.
The thing about working with the musicians is there's not the room for error for musicians that there is for everything else. You know, if you blow a line or miss a cue in a sketch or a dance or something, we can probably cover that up. But as a musician, working with a band and singers, a mistake can be deadly.
No, actually, which part are you talking about?
All right.
That's the first half.
Yep. And then you just kind of keep blowing. You keep this exact same fingering all the way up until, so just find. So that's it exactly. Yeah, you got it. You got it exactly.
Sometimes the critical element is to know a trick of the trade. That's the beauty of having somebody like Jennifer Hahn around. She's been playing keys for me and singing for over 10 years. She knows all the tricks, and she will help guarantee success if the student listens.
Prep your hand. Totally cheat. Whatever makes it work, absolutely cheat. You know 2/3 of the song right now, and that's a great place to be with, 3 weeks left?
Yeah.
We have a total of 3 weeks of rehearsal, right? And that's 1 session per student, per discipline, per week, for 3 weeks. That's very little rehearsal time. It really wasn't an option for anybody to miss anything. So naturally, at the top of the second week, somebody finds out that they need to miss something.
Diana says that Ronnie cannot be at rehearsal tomorrow. So.
Wait. Ronnie can't be at rehearsal at all? Why not?
He's got a conflict with his other.
And we didn't know this ahead of time?
He was one of the ones that didn't send me his schedule. Okay, they're in there right now. So if you want to try and reschedule, I've got all 3 dancers in there right now that you could talk to them.
All right, you go reschedule.
But I got to go do both.
I'm just very concerned about 2 rehearsals being enough. 3 is chancing it.
3 is pushing the limit of what they're capable of. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, let's either find a way to do a third or simplify.
Because it ain't close. It ain't nearly close enough. You have this every Wednesday until the show. Tomorrow, and you have it next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
It's not going to be enough, right? It's going to have to be tomorrow and next Wednesday. Either that or we're going to reschedule it for Thursday, which I'm not crazy about taking time out of my already busy schedule to come in here and work around your schedule because you didn't give me your conflict in the first place.
Some of these students were really well prepared, and they were so much fun to work with because they could start performing. They didn't have to worry about whether they knew the notes or the words or whatever. And man, that is when it gets to be fun.
Suck to me, 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 suck to me. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Awesome. You're such a pleasure to watch.
Oh yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Love it. Well done.
Yeah.
Then there were lots of students who just didn't have the self-confidence to express the obvious talent and ability that they had locked up inside.
I want you to do exactly what you were doing. And I want you to say, everything I'm doing is exactly the right choice for where I am in this process. Say that.
Everything I'm doing is okay for where I am in the process.
No. It's exactly the right choice.
It's exactly the right choice. Okay.
Now, say it one more time and mean it.
Other students had an issue so specific that we had to just hammer it until they finally got over whatever the block was.
And kick the crap out of them!
See that smile? Lose it, my friend. That smile is discomfort. Lose it. You don't have to be uncomfortable around us. We're just a bunch of idiots.
I say we calmly go down to the manager's office.
Look at me. And kick the crap out of him!
That's good. That's much better, Hayden.
It's easy to talk about fixing these things. It seems like no big deal, but it can be a real pain when your director just keeps giving you the same note over and over.
And kick the crap out of them. And say that with me. And kick the crap out of them. I want you to say it any faster than that at all. One more time. And kick the crap out of them. You got it.
Then there's the issue of homework. The students who didn't prepare effectively for these rehearsals just made it impossible for the rehearsal to have value.
Rehearsals are going pretty well. Last week was a little shaky because I wasn't as prepared as I could have been because it kind of snuck up on me.
Well, I just came out of my vocal rehearsal. I just need to work on some of my lyrics and singing a little louder.
Oi! You never get... Oh, you're making a big mistake, Fonzie!
Obviously, for next week, whatever we can do to really get these lines solid. Because we'll rehearse a little bit today, but we can't do anything meaningful until the lines are in your head.
The directors at Shadowbox have great experience working with other professional performers. What they don't have so much great experience working with is students.
Now I'm so embarrassed. I'm gonna have to kill myself or something.
I would say that, as you go through these feelings of liking Drew, for example.
See me back there in the corner, ready to hurt myself? That's because Jimmy's dancing around the issue. He doesn't want to be direct with these kids.
Right now, there's just no character. There ain't a damn thing going on. And somehow we have to fix that. Because I know that there are bound to be times in your life when there's some personality. You're either really angry about something or really happy about something or really sad. I mean, right?
Yeah.
And is that pretty big and expressive when those moments happen? You have to bring that to this.
Rehearsals have been going good so far. They're very helpful with things I have to say, and they're very straight to the point about it. They're very direct, but the approach is in a nice, helpful way, but it's direct.
These kids need the most direct approach you can give them. It's not a favor for anybody to give them anything other than that just sucked. It's just human nature. I mean, they just don't get it unless you're unbelievable. You have to tattoo it to their forehead, then they get it. But it isn't these kids. It's people. When individuals start getting it at a level beyond smacking them around, you're dealing with somebody who's really good, has a huge amount of desire. As opposed to young people who have got a million other things on their mind, not the least of which is growing up. But you want to know what works? Remember that conversation that Katie had yesterday with Ronnie? Who's out there rehearsing right now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Here we are, one rehearsal away from putting the show up, and things are definitely not good. So I pulled the directors together for a review, somewhat of the students, somewhat of the directors, but mostly of a potentially disastrous show.
At the end of this meeting, every place we have decided that there is a significant problem, I want there to be a very specific fix already in place. Okay? So that next week's rehearsals can be about the fixes.
She takes the notes, but it's still not good.
I need to spend that 10 minutes this week, not with the CD, but with the metronome. And say, dude, this has to be fluid, and you have to play it at tempo with a click, not listening to the CD, and just, you know, you can't use the CD to hide your own mistakes.
So she had a hard time even hearing what I was saying because she was so flustered at the get-go.
They're not going to do the second verse at all. Amy and I will do that, so at the end of the first chorus, when they drop down, they're going to drop down and out. We'll continue on with the second verse.
And I said, well, that wouldn't be a problem as long as he had done his homework. We might be able to pull it off with 2 rehearsals. Well, he came in and he was not prepared.
Right now, that sketch has a lot of very, very sophisticated humor.
Mm-hmm.
Cut it.
You want me to do that today?
Today.
Okay.
Cut it down to the jokes.
If I had to stand up there with her and play the left hand while she played the right hand to make the song work, that's what we were going to have to do.
Because if the nerves are that bad now at Metro on a second rehearsal, they're going to be off the hook on the 18th.
I can't over-express my level of concern about the 18th. When they walk into this place and are surrounded by full-time professional singers, actors, dancers, and musicians, tech folk, and they have to try to integrate with those people in a meaningful way. And I'm not looking for a day where everybody is everybody's best friend. It needs to be a day of work, like a traditional tech day at Shadowbox, so that they understand what's necessary, because that's part of what we're trying to do, is that real-life professional experience. I'd like to see report cards of some sort go out to all the kids. Here's what I think of the work you've done so far. Give them a grade, give them a number grade, just like they would get in school, so that they understand where they are in this process. And remind them that the Shadowbox experience is a mastery experience as well, which is you need an A. So get to work.
Never in my life did I think I'd be giving another human being a grade. But here it was. This was the day. Would it work? I don't know. I guess we'll just see if we get lucky.
Did you get your grade?
I did.
What'd you think?
I thought it was okay until I heard what my friend Jacob Baird's grade was. Oh, and then I was like, oh.
So she came in, the first thing she says to me is, I don't have the song memorized. I said, well, you've got 25 minutes to memorize the song or you're not doing this.
Just so you understand exactly what we're dealing with, if this isn't spot on for your rehearsal Saturday, then the only other option is you get to do the bottom keyboard and I will do this.
You have got to sing this thing 10 times a day. And you cannot sleep at night until you've done it 3 times correctly all in a row. Okay, I don't care if you're up till 4 in the morning.
It seemed you were becoming that snotty little brat that you really seem to be in real life. Well, you got to understand something. We like the snotty little brat, really. And so we would like to see more of that. You can just be. So stop squashing who you are.
If you would put forth 100%, this would be fabulous. It's okay right now, but it needs to be fabulous.
Pour your misery down.
Be a rock star.
Pour your misery down on me.
That high note, quit being such a wuss.
It's too high.
What's happening right now is you're playing through the song fine, and when you get to that lick, you go, eh, like when you're driving and you know you're about to hit a giant pothole, and that tension, that body tension, tenses up these muscles and it slows you way down. If you're relaxed and centered, you can play it fluidly.
we get this to this level, and then Steve comes in and goes bam, 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 and then raises it to that next level. So.
We'll still be there to help and everything, but just so you know, and for your mindset, come Monday, his is the last word, first and last word on that day.
Well, I might blame you guys for a couple.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's okay. We're used to that.
That's what everyone does. Wait, no.
Yeah, bang, bang,
Okay, that's fine. Stop. I think that's gonna work real nice.
Great.
The stronger that you sing it, the more likely you are going to stay directly on that pitch.
Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it.
Good, that was perfect.
Yes, big step up, Siobhan. Big step up.
Hi, Tyler. I saw you the other day at Burger King, and you ordered the Whopper combo. You know, that's my favorite too, because this one time I ordered this Weller, and I was like, whoa, that is so much fish.
Wendy, you're waking me up, freak. When Tyler comes into the room and you're right up in his face talking fast, you need to be yelling at him as loud as you can.
Hey, Tyler. Hey, I saw you at Burger King the other day, and you ordered the Whopper combo. And you know that's my favorite too, because I ordered the one time I ordered the Whaler, and I was like, whoa, that is so much fish.
You're waking me up, freak. I mean, if it feels ridiculous, we're probably about on the edge of where it ought to be. This is it. We're down to the wire. We have just a couple of days now, okay? Crank it up.
My biggest fear for Shadowbox is that my rehearsal mentor, Jennifer, will actually have to come up and take my spot because I have no idea what I'm doing and I just freeze.
My biggest fear is that people will forget to have a good time.
Well, I heard there's going to be a lot of people,
We sold this thing out about 10 days ago.
so I'm kind of nervous about singing in front of that many people.
That I'm gonna crack on the high part of my song. I guess that would be my biggest fear.
Because really, guys, if you're not ready right now, you ain't going to get ready. So just chill, have a good time with it, and I'm sure it'll all be fun.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Metro Rocks the Bar!
So it's finally showtime. Is this night going to be an amazing success or an embarrassing failure? All I know for sure at this point is that based on the rehearsals, it was completely up in the air.
Alyssa was struggling with a couple of the rhythms. In the initial rehearsal, she was very disengaged. She wouldn't look me in the eye. She seemed kind of over the whole thing. But given the amount of work that she clearly did over the last week, I can see that she's very dedicated to it. Yeah, the biggest thing right now is this rhythm. You know, the 1, 2, and 3. If you need to, 1, 2, 3. Instead of doing the quick double hit there, there's no reason you can't go. That's going to be easier for your right hand to get there. Now, so there you go. I see how your brain works now. I give you the easier way, and then you fix the harder way.
I respond to aggressive stimulation where
I love it.
people tell me I can't do it. I'm like, oh, just watch me.
Forget about me. Don't you forget about me.
Like Steve said in his announcement, it takes a lot of courage to stand up there, and I'm just, I stood up there and even though my legs are still shaking and I'm, shaking all over, I'm still, I did it, I got up there and I didn't freak out or cry or have to have Red, but she didn't have to come in and take over for me, and I didn't pass out or do anything embarrassing, so.
I need you to be bigger on the aha. We are looking at all of these people going through all of this stuff. Suddenly, you're back in the scene. You have to really grab our attention for that to work. So step right down stage with a gigantic...
Aha! A breakthrough! Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
What was the most terrifying moment?
When all the rest of the cast left, it was just me and Stanley together. And I realized then that I had to take control of the scene. Stanley, afraid of love. I've learned that I don't have to be as scared as I am sometimes, that I'm a confident person.
And here I'm so relieved because I thought I was going to have to talk to you about this.
Karis, is that her name?
I don't know if she's ever been pushed in this arena, and does the low energy, not really going to put it out there because if I do and it's wrong, you know, I have to hold myself accountable to that.
Go ahead and sing out. Even if it's wrong, just sing out because I want you to practice being loud.
But when you push her, it's awesome.
You just know she's asking herself, what am I doing here? But then, somehow, the music just got the best of her and she sang her guts out.
She seems very shy and self-conscious, but when I tell her to be a rocker and to sing out, she can produce, and it's a big voice, and it's a nice voice.
It just sounds awesome. Now what we need it to do is to look like it's fun. Because it looks like it's a little terrifying right now. So look at everybody and smile, and you'll be great.
There was a lot of people, so I was kind of scared.
I did great. I did first guerrilla radio, the dance. At first I started out a little nervous, but then when I got out there, adrenaline rush, I was like, yes. I've learned so much. I say the production crew and everybody here is very serious about what they do.
I don't have such fond feelings about where we are right now. I think it needs a lot more focus than I feel like it got that time.
And you know, at first they tell you, you're not here yet. They tell you, like, yeah, they're serious. But once you get here, you start up doing the work and things like that, you're like, man, they're really on it. And so it gets you into the mood of getting it on.
The biggest problem with the piece right now is lack of commitment. I'm not sure, screw it. What do you need? At this point, it's too late to worry about that. Be committed and go.
I feel like I did really great. I just went out there. I was nervous at first, but I had a lot of fun. I learned to have fun, trust myself.
Stop us now!
Most people say I'm funny, or I say things and they think it's hilarious, but I'm really serious, and they think I'm being sarcastic, and I'm not. And sometimes I show no emotion when I'm talking.
You must keep engaged with your face 100% of the time, so we don't ever have to guess what you're thinking, okay? And I'll stop you this time anytime I see that blank face. When you get there on Monday, the environment, the number of people, all of the technical issues, the costumes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all of those things will combine to want to crush your personality. You can help me greatly between now and then by literally practicing just being who you are. And whatever it is in life that's tending to squash you into this little box, bust out of it for just 2 days to be that big, expressive, obnoxious little brat that you are. Because I love that character and I think that's perfect for what we're doing.
Married or single?
Single.
Single.
dog named Noodle Slinger?
Excuse me?
Noodle Slinger, ever heard of him?
No, should I?
No?
Probably the most terrifying moment was the second solo.
Relax a little bit, Sebastian, on those solos. You're doing fine when the band's playing with you, but in those moments, it's just like, everything goes to hell. So just chill out. You'll be fine. Okay? All right.
It's like a 3-note phrase, except you have to put it on 4 beats, so each time you start on a different note.
It's just not as quite synced up as you would want it to be ultimately. That'll stop as soon as you relax. You clearly have this song under your fingers. Shake it out, man. Sebastian, your first fill needs a little help today. So it's all about relaxation, man. You're just so tense that you're psyching yourself out.
But I did pretty good.
Take care and take singing. A little respect. A little respect. Just a little bit. And I get tired. I'm gonna keep on trying. Just a little bit.
What did you learn? For the most part, I guess I just learned how to be good sport, how to go out there and have fun.
I guess at the end of the day, if you have the courage to do the necessary work, life can be a blast.
Hey, have fun.
It was wonderful. I can't say enough, honestly. What a surprise.
You know, you must really have a problem when you lie to your friends right to their face. Yeah.
Can I just have one more room dance with you?
It was great. I mean, yeah.
It was the bomb. Yeah. I loved it. I'd come back if you did it every week.
Dance with you, my love.
What the hell are you guys talking about? We were talking about paying for the breaking coffee.
It was wonderful. Definitely exceeded my expectations.
Such an amazing evening for our students, for our staff, for our school. Really something.
Well, Pastor Petey always tells both of us that if we're not good, we're going to hell.
Hell is a very scary place.
Yeah, because it's made out of fire.
And Ozzy Osbourne lives there.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world.
I'll just tell you, it was a wonderful, wonderful performance. I couldn't tell who were the students. Really. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. They all blended together. I had to keep asking, is that a student? Is that a student? Is that a professional?
What happened to the guy who got his heart ripped out? Did he die?
No. He put the pieces of his heart back together, sat in his room all night long, and listened to Air Supply.
The amount of work that went in was huge, and it was definitely the kind of thing where you thought, boy, is this going to be worth it?
Right.
to find out that it succeeded at this level was really, really exciting. So I'm real happy.
Yay! Yay, Metro!
Think you can just bump off Camalingo and get away with it?
Ooh, you're making a big mistake, Geach!
Oh, I think you're the mistake. Yeah! Yeah! What? What do you want?
This we don't have to hear the song anymore. We've heard it for the last 3 weeks around the dinner table.
Hugging and a kissing, dancing and a loving and the love.